Hi, I'm Kaila, and this is the Boss Babe Mindset Podcast. Thank you for listening. Today we're going to be talking about perfection, okay? We're going to be talking about perfection, how perfection really, in my opinion, doesn't exist, and how it can really hold you back from living your best life, okay? If you're listening to this podcast, it probably means that you're looking for a way to live more authentically, more aligned, and more true to your highest self. So thank you so much for being here. So I went to this convention a few months ago, and while I was there was a speaker, and one of the key points of her speech towards the end was a certain phrase. And the phrase was, "Perfection is poverty." And that's something that's going to stick out to me probably for the rest of my life. I remember writing it down, putting a huge box around it, starring it, and I was like, oh my God, this is the magic sauce right here, guys. Like, there's so much truth in those three words. They're so powerful. Perfection is poverty. And then she went on to explain that if you continually strive for perfection, there's nothing wrong with wanting something great and wanting something better. But if you continually strive for perfection, you're never going to get anything done. And I let that sink in for a second when she said that. And I was like, holy shit, she's right. Like, how many situations I thought in that moment, like, how many situations have I been in personally where I put something off because it wasn't perfect, or it wasn't quite right, or there was something missing. And I was like, no, like, as long as you're putting in your best, and this is your best effort and your best work, put it out there. Like, it's okay to put it out there. It's okay to have mistakes. It's okay if things are not perfect. Like, it's going to prevent you so much, especially if you're trying to become your own boss, entrepreneur. Like, a big part of doing that is learning from your mistakes and, quite frankly, pardon my language, but fucking up. Like, you have to do it sometimes. And a lot of things that I'll have ideas from. An idea is only an idea. And I've really realized this more and more throughout this journey. Unless you do something about that idea, unless you take that inspired action and create something out of that idea, it's just an idea. Okay, if you keep building it up in your mind that it has to be perfect, that it has to look like this, that it has to be that, then yeah, like, nothing is ever going to happen. Like, perfection is poverty. Like, how are you going to take this great business idea that you have and not do anything with it and expect to have results, you know? And I'm not necessarily monetary results, but yes, monetary results too. But how do you expect anything to happen or flourish if you're not doing anything? You know, if you get stuck in this, if it's not perfect enough, then it's never going to happen. And yeah, you're right, it's not going to happen. So even things like creating a podcast, like, let me use this because this is the perfect example, okay? I have wanted to create a podcast for the past probably year and a half of my life. And what has prevented me from doing it? It's very simple. Like, I thought I had to have this perfect intro and outro and background music, and, you know, I thought I had to have all these things to make it quote unquote perfect. But look, here I am here today. All I needed was a camera, which I already had. You know, I have a camera on my computer, I have a camera on my phone, you know, things that I already have in my life, and a voice. Speaking, guys, I'm lucky enough that I'm not mute, and I have the ability to speak, and I love to speak to others. You know, it's one of my God-given gifts, the ability to speak and be heard and share truth. So I just decided one day, it was probably a month ago now, I was like, why am I letting these things get in the way? You know, why am I putting this idea in my head that it has to be perfect? Why don't I just go for it? Okay, put something out there, and then as I go along, refine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a really beautiful thing to do, and honestly, it makes things more fun. You get more creative, you grow, you explore different options, you figure out how to make things better as you go along, but at least you were bold enough and daring enough to put yourself out there, you know? I realized that fear was just me not wanting to get outside of my comfort zone. You know, being on camera, I'm not going to lie, it's a hard thing to be on camera and to see yourself. Like, you literally have to face yourself when you're on camera. But it's something that I've practiced so many times. A lot of you might not know this, but I I went to journalism school in addition to exercise science. I was studying both subjects. So I remember the first time, it's called a stand-up, okay, in the journalism world. The first time I ever had to do a stand-up, which is, if you watch the news, it's when a reporter is on camera and they're speaking on their own, like by themselves in front of like a building or in front of wherever, and they might walk a little bit. Anyway, it's just the reporter. No, they're not interviewing anyone. They're just talking about whatever situation's going on. And here I am holding my mic as if I were doing a stand-up. But anywho, the first time, let me move my hand. The first time that I did a stand-up, and I tell people this, I had to practice 47 times. Like, guys, like, okay, like, but I was not afraid to keep practicing and refining and making it great. The point is, after 47 times, it still wasn't perfect, y'all. I still had to go in, face myself with my professor, and he still had things to critique, okay? So the point is, you might do something 47 times, and it still won't be perfect, but at least you were daring enough to put yourself out there, And in that situation, it was great practice, because I was accountable for creating this project and being graded upon, and it was just it was part of my grade. Like, it was part of my means of graduating. I had to do it. So it's perfect to have someone to be accountable for in that situation, to be like, where's your stand-up? And even though it wasn't perfect, at least I was brave enough to put it out there, to put myself on camera, to get outside of my comfort zone and do things that scared me. Because let me tell you, the first 47 times doing it scared the shit out of me. Scared the shit out of me every time. Because when you're on camera doing this stand-up, you have people walking by while you're just talking to yourself. You're essentially talking to yourself. You're talking to a camera, so you're talking to yourself. It's scary, guys, but I did it. It wasn't perfect, but I put myself out there. And I'll mention, too, I got an A. I did great. It wasn't perfect. Still had things to say, but I did fantastic. I did what I was supposed to do. So the point is, here with this podcast, if there is something that you really want to do, that you really want to achieve, that you've been thinking about, this beautiful idea, business related or not, even if it's just a creative pursuit, and you have this voice or message or something you want to share with the world, put it out there, guys. It doesn't have to be perfect. Quite honestly, seeing people in their most imperfect state, it's beautiful. It shows that we're all human and we can connect with that. There's nothing wrong with that being perfect, because let me tell you, I don't care, especially with the social media being such a huge presence in our life today. People may put off this perception. That's the word I'm looking for. People may put off this perception that their lives are perfect, and because they take all these professional pictures and everything's beautiful and dandy and they travel. But let me tell you, what's going on the other side isn't so pretty. Let me just tell you that from experience and working with other coaches. Like, you start to see things aren't as beautiful as people make them look. And that's part of just running a business. You have to look like you have your shit together, whether you do or not. And I'll be full disclosure, like, there are days when I wake up and I'm a total freaking mess. But I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to do my best today and just keep moving forward. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I promise myself each morning when I get up that I'm going to do my personal best each and every day. And honestly, there's not more that I could ask for from myself. And there's not much more that the world could ask of from me. Because as long as you're doing yourself, or you're doing your very best in that present moment, in this very day and age, there's nothing wrong with that. It's the only way you're going to get to that point of being an expert, so to speak. They say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at anything. So let me tell you, like, I'm a yoga instructor. I'm a life coach. I do these different things. I teach chair exercise to seniors. Those 3 activities I have definitely not been doing for 10,000 hours. Do I still do them to the best of my ability? Show up for my clients, show up for my residents, show up for my students? Hell yeah, man. I give them my all, my best. No, I don't have that type of experience where I have 10,000 hours in. I'm 24 years old. But I'm going to do the best of my ability up to this point in my life. And let me tell you, it's really damn good, because when people are paying me to do something, let me rephrase that, because I don't like saying things that way. When people invest in me, and more importantly, when people invest in themselves, that's the most beautiful thing. So when you're investing in yourself and doing something like yoga or coaching or meditation, I want to make sure that I'm giving you your best value and your worth. Because if I were in your shoes, total empath over here, been very empathetic my entire life. If I were in your shoes, I would expect the same. So not only am I going to give you greatness, I'm going to go above and beyond and be my very best. You know, it's not just going to be good. It's going to be my very best. Is it going to be perfect? Hell no, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be pretty friggin' great, because I wouldn't expect anything less from someone that I was working with, you know, someone that I was, and so intimately too, one-on-one. I would not expect anything less than that. But the whole point is, if you're too afraid to put yourself out there, if you're too afraid to go for that business pursuit, if you're too afraid to go for that creative pursuit, poverty is inevitable. You know, there's no financial gain there. There's no emotional gain there. There's just no gain for you in any respect. Again, it doesn't have to be a financial gain. Poverty could mean that your soul is quite literally drying up and dying because you can't get that creative flow out of your body. And I can totally relate to that. Like, I'm a very creative being. I have to express myself. I have to participate in creative pursuits, or I feel like my soul is dying. That is poverty in a lot of ways. I feel like I'm drying up and there's nothing there. So that's my whole point right there. Poverty doesn't have to necessarily mean money. It can, if this is a business pursuit, but it doesn't have to be. It could be something so deep within your heart that feels like it's drying up because you feel as if you're not able to put it out there, or you just feel like things have to be a certain way or perfect in order to pursue that creative expression. And guys, it's just not true. It's not, okay? Like, look, I'm recording this right now from my computer. Am I in a professional sound studio with, you know, soundproof walls and a deluxe camera that costs thousands of dollars with great visuals? Like, no. No. And that's, again, one, I can't, that's out of my budget, way out of my budget. I can't do that right now at this point in time. But it's better for me to put something out there that's good and great and my very best than it is to be like, oh, well, until I have all of this fancy equipment, I'm not going to do anything. Where the fuck does that get you? Nowhere. It doesn't get you anywhere. That's the whole point. There's something that you are dying to do, that your soul is crying out for you to do. My advice to you today, go for it. Do it. You don't have to have all these things. That's something that you've created in your mind that's just simply, it's not true. And people who look like they have their lives together and they have all this professional photography done and video and whatnot, I would challenge you to ask that person what they had to do to get to that point in their journey. Because let me tell you, they started really small too. They started where you are. They started with nothing, no content. I shouldn't say nothing, but they started without this fancy equipment and professional photographers. They started from the bottom, you know, and they climbed their way up to the top. What you might see is not always what you get. And again, I've learned that from meeting people in the entrepreneur community and working with coaches. Not everything you see is what it appears. So go for it, whatever it is that you are, and I guarantee it right now, you're creating excuses in your mind right now of why you can't go for that creative pursuit or that business pursuit or whatever it is. Guarantee you, been in your shoes. You're doing it right now, and I challenge you to stop that. Okay? You are your own worst enemy, and you are the only thing preventing you from going for it, from achieving, from believing, from being the best version of you. It's all you. And I want you to take a second, let that sink in. It's all on you at the end of the day. It's your self-limiting beliefs. It's your negative self-talk. Okay, and that's why I'm so passionate about my mindfulness coaching, because I literally train people to literally rewire their brains to not think that way so that they can pursue the things that they love, so that they can be authentic in their journeys and just thrive in their lives. You know, we were put on this earth to do so much more than work, pay our bills, and die, in my opinion. We should thrive doing what we love each and every day of our lives. And I'm not saying the journey to get there is going to be easy or it's going to be quick, but taking the initial steps to get there, getting that mindset of perfection out of your head permanently, that is the first step. Taking that first step is the hardest and most liberating thing you can do for yourself. And I speak from experience here, you know. I'll tell you from the very beginning, I was working at a restaurant. A lot of you worked with me who follow my journey. I worked at a restaurant, barbecue restaurant. I won't say the name of the restaurant just out of respect for the company. I was working at a restaurant, and at the same time I was going to school and I was interning in an office. And it was I remember this certain summer, I think it was, I want to say this summer of 2015. Summer of 2015. Is just in that summer, I realized everything I did not want for the rest of my life. I did not want to work in an office. I just found out from interning in one, it sucked everything out of my soul. I was like, all right, I don't belong in a box, a cubicle, nothing. I can't belong. I even brought my own yoga ball with me to work so that I could save my low back. I was like, I cannot do this type of damage to myself. Cannot do it. So there was that. Working in the restaurant business, no regrets there. Definitely taught me how to work really hard, how to work on my feet, and just appreciate people in the restaurant business. But it was something I also knew, I don't want to get stuck waitressing for the rest of my life in a restaurant. You know, I want to really get out and do things with my life and really pursue excellence, because there were a few people who worked there, that was their career, and quite honestly, it freaked me out. Because I just couldn't understand how you could just want to be there for the rest of your life. But that was just me realizing things about myself, things that I didn't want. And then being in school. I still love being in school, the constant pursuit of knowledge. But I had switched majors really recently, and I knew I wanted to do something with physical activity. I wanted to study movement and pass the love of movement onto others and having a positive mindset onto others. So it's just a very pivotal moment in my life. But it was in that summer that I decided, I made a choice. I was like, all right, I'm going to pursue this full force. So I got a certification to teach group exercise. That, as a college student, that was the most affordable way for me to do it versus a yoga teacher training. And then thereafter, I started teaching yoga. I quit my job at the restaurant, started teaching yoga, and my path has been long and winding and hard, and I've been through a lot of ups and downs. But the point is, I didn't allow this idea of me being perfect or having to be perfect stand in the way of me following my dreams and pursuing my dreams. And I'm still on that journey today. Still not perfect. 4 years later, what is it, 2019? In August, it'll be the 4-year mark of this yoga journey, this mindfulness journey, this coaching journey. And what a ride. But I'm so glad I took that initial leap of faith, which again was not easy. Scary as shit. But it was the most liberating thing I've ever done. And I have zero regrets. So if I could just take that away with yourself, if you want to do anything with your life, whatever it is, nothing is too crazy, at least in my mind, okay? I've rewired my brain in that way. Nothing is too unrealistic. Make that jump and go for it. And if you feel as if you need that extra push or you need a coach to help you along the way in this journey, I am here to support you, okay? My program, Coaching for Confidence, is out there for just that. Okay, you can ask any of the ladies I've worked with. I am that push. I hold you accountable for yourself. I make you go in or outside of, I make you go outside of your comfort zone so that you can pursue things and grow. grow and take the inspired action and create the life you've been dreaming of living. And this might sound so pie in the sky magical, but guys, it's not. It all starts with your mindset. It doesn't matter what you want to pursue or what your goals are or what type of life you're trying to create. It all starts up here. Once you rewire your brain and tell yourself that you are capable of anything, then you are truly capable of anything. And I feel myself getting so heated and passionate right now, but it's because I speak from experience and I just want as many people as possible to thrive doing what they love and live authentically. That is my dream. Think about how beautiful this planet would be if we did what we love every single day, if everybody did it and they thrived while they did it and they were financially set while doing it. It's possible. I'm living proof. There's so many other people I know that I've worked with now that are living proof, and I am just here to support your journey. Feels so good to get off my chest. This is one of my favorite things to do, podcast. Like I said before, it's something I've been wanting to do, and I'm so glad I made that leap of faith. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Boss Babe Mindset. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all next week. Namaste.